episode of Headbanger's Kitchen. And about my guest today.
Who gives a fuck? Who gives a fuck? Who gives a fuck?
You got that right. Our guests are Zygnema, Mumbai's hottest metal band. And we're going to be cooking up Spaghetti 59 for them. And Spaghetti 59 is basically my take on the traditional spaghetti and meatballs. So we're going to start by making the meatballs for our spaghetti and meatballs. And I'm going to use beef mince now, but when Zygnema is here, I'll make it again with chicken mince, basically because Sidharth doesn't eat beef. But I wanted to show you guys the recipe with beef because I think spaghetti and meatballs needs to be made with beef. So we're going to start with 500 grams of beef mince, to which I'm going to add some garlic salt. Now if you don't have garlic salt, you can use freshly minced garlic as well as salt obviously. And just make sure you season the beef well. We're going to put some freshly ground pepper. Then add some dried Italian herbs. And if you don't have this, you can always substitute it with any kind of herbs that you like. Anything from freshly chopped parsley to basil to thyme to rosemary. Many great combinations that you can use. Into this now we're going to break an egg. And the last thing that goes into our beef mince here is a slice of bread soaked in milk. Now I believe that this makes it a lot lighter, and from what I know, chefs like Gordon Ramsay use breadcrumbs and milk, but Marco P.A. White uses just bread soaked in milk. So I'm going with Marco on this one, and we're going to add in some bread soaked in milk. And now comes the really heavy metal part, where you get down and dirty with the meat and mix it all with your hands, with your bare hands. So now that our mince is ready, we're going to fry the meatballs. And you can also cook the meatballs in the tomato sauce if you like. However, I prefer to get a bit of color on the meatballs and then add them to the sauce later and fully cook them through. Also remember, if you're cooking with chicken very specifically, it cooks a lot faster than beef, so keep that in mind. We're going to get our pan nice and hot and put in some olive oil into that. We're going to fry our meatballs in olive oil. So get your pan nice and hot and put in a generous helping of olive oil. Now while our pan is getting nice and hot, we're going to shape the meatballs. And you can make the meatballs as big or small as you like. I prefer to have them nice and small, bite size almost. I feel you get a lot more flavor out of it when everything is together, the spaghetti and the meatballs. If they're too big, they tend to be a little bit too big, I guess. Some people like big balls, some people like them small. And you want to get a nice golden brown color on these. As I said earlier, you can put these in the sauce and cook it with the sauce, but I just prefer to do it this way. You can see it's turned a nice, lovely caramelized color. So just give them a good stir. And now remember, you just want to give them some color. You don't want to cook them 100% through because they're anyway going to cook when you put them in the sauce. So keep that in mind. So our meatballs have a lovely color on them, and we're going to take them out of the pan right now. So now that our meatballs are ready, we're just going to leave them to rest for a little bit while we prepare our tomato sauce. So now that the meatballs are cooked and they're resting, they're really tired, they did a lot of hard work. So the meatballs are resting now. And we're going to start our sauce by getting a pan on the stove and obviously olive oil, a foundation for any good food. So heat some olive oil in a pan and let that get nice and hot. Now there are many variations to making your basic tomato sauce. It all boils down to your personal preference. I would say these recipes are merely a guide to you, and you can obviously innovate and be as creative as you like when making it. So to the hot oil, we're going to add about 2 chopped onions. And we don't want the onions to brown, we just want them to get nice and translucent. And we're going to let these cook for a minute or two. So we let the onions cook for a bit, and then I'm going to add my garlic to it. Now if you don't like your food with too much garlic, put less garlic. I, however, like my pasta sauce with a lot of garlic flavor in it. So I'm going to go a bit overboard with the garlic and put in quite a bit of it. And just let that cook with the onions. Remember, we don't want to brown it, we just want it to get nice and translucent. Remember to keep giving that a good stir. Like I said, you don't want to really brown the onions, you want to give them just a nice golden color. And with tomato sauce, I would say make a lot of it, and you can freeze it as well and use it in all kinds of recipes. Not just spaghetti and meatballs, you can use it in lasagnas, you can use it as a pizza topping as well, obviously. Now when I make these kinds of sauces, I like to season it at every step of the way. So I'm going to add a small pinch of salt right now. And as you can see now, the onions have a lovely golden color. So I'm now going to add in freshly chopped tomatoes, about 8 of them. And to this, I'm going to add some sugar, which helps remove some of the acidity of the tomatoes. And of course, some more salt. And some freshly ground black pepper. You just mix that up nicely. And just let that cook for a little while, because you want the tomatoes to break down. So about 5 to 6 minutes will do it. So the tomatoes have now broken down nicely, and to this we're going to add about 400 mils of tomato puree, and this will give it a nice rich tomato flavor. And at this point we're going to season the sauce again, but not before we taste it. Nice and tomatoey, but we're going to add some more salt and pepper. So we've seasoned our sauce again, and now we're going to let it cook for another 10 minutes or so before we add our fresh herbs, which in my opinion are what make a great tomato sauce. Some fresh basil and some fresh oregano. Lots and lots of fresh basil and some fresh oregano. Now you can use dried herbs as well, but when you're making a tomato sauce like this, you need fresh basil and fresh oregano. It really makes a world of difference. And the flavors of these herbs are going to infuse nicely now into the sauce. So don't cut the basil with your knife. If you can, actually just tear it and put it in. And it tastes lovely when you get a bite of fresh basil in your mouth. It just explodes with flavor. And as soon as this is done, we're going to add Meatballs. It's very important to add these now. And they will cook through fully in the sauce, and you get some of those resting juices there. Make sure all of that goes into the sauce. It only adds flavor. So you put your meatballs in to the sauce. Put in all those resting juices. Just give it a nice stir. Now that your meatballs are in, let your sauce cook for another 5 or 10 minutes. And you'll be good to go. And now since I'm using beef, it's pretty safe to eat your beef medium rare or even rare. So kids, don't try this at home. Taste your sauce and also taste your balls. That is delicious. So now that our sauce is ready, we're going to boil the spaghetti. And ideally, I would have started this process a little earlier so that it's ready simultaneously. But because I'm stuck with only one gas stove, I'm going to do one after the other. I'm not going to show you how to boil the spaghetti, but just keep in mind, wait till the water is really hot before you put the spaghetti in, and remove it slightly al dente as it continues to cook even after. So let's get our spaghetti ready now. So guys, our spaghetti is done. As you can see, it's still steaming. And now we're going to plate up the spaghetti and meatballs. And there are a couple of ways to do this. One of the things I like to do is put my spaghetti in a bowl, a little bit of salt, pepper and olive oil, and then pour the meatballs and the tomato sauce over that. The other way, however, is dipping the spaghetti in the sauce coat it nicely. Just put that into a bowl. And then pour your meatballs over that. And finally, we garnish it with some fresh Parmesan cheese. And there you have it, Spaghetti 59. My take on the classic spaghetti and meatballs. But now, it's time for me to remake this with chicken for Zygnema. Welcome back to Headbanger's Kitchen, and my guests today are a band that is known for instigating some of the wildest mosh pits in Bombay and generally asking you the question, who gives a fuck? Joining me today are Sidharth and Jimmy from Zygnema. Hey guys, welcome to the show.
Thank you for having us, man.
Awesome, it's great to see you guys here. And I got to ask you first up, do you give a fuck and why?
Well, we do.
What do you give a fuck about?
We give a fuck about a lot of things, like the question that you asked me in context of our song 59, the chorus that goes, who gives a fuck. We do give a fuck, and we want everyone else to give a fuck about what's happening around us and not just disregard it.
Serious words from a serious man.
Yeah.
So, the thing that's making news now is that you guys just came back a month ago from playing at the Walk-In Metal Battle, and from all the videos it looks like you guys kicked some serious ass. So tell us about the experience.
Like we are still not over Walk-In. Like probably like a dream come true. Like every metal band should go to Walk-In and play. We were actually waiting for quite some time to probably play a good festival, and we just saw Walk-In on the bill. We were like, we should probably just try it out and work out for us. And when we were there, when we saw the stage, the lights, we were like quite impatient to get on stage and like just get with the set done. Yeah, overall it was like a brilliant experience. Meeting such great artists, hanging out with many of the musicians, meeting your mentors and like great bands like Sepultura.
You guys got to meet Sepultura,
Opeth, Machine Head, Decapitated, like the list goes on and on.
And what was the audience reaction like there when you guys played?
It was great. Like we didn't expect to have like 7,000 people inside that tent. We were playing at the wet stage. It was right inside Red Bull City Circus. And as soon as we got on stage, the curtains open. We see that there's a good amount of people. By the time we got done playing 2 songs, it was like packed till the end. And we were just like...
Nice. And I think there are some pictures and videos online that fans can check out and see the experience and share the experience that you had. But as just metalheads from India who are going for a festival, did you stay for the entire festival? And what was that experience of attending a metal festival? Well, the holy grail of metal festivals, Walk-In. What was that like?
A lot of muck, a lot of rain, and we got fooled by saying it's summer and the temperature went down to 4 degrees and we were wearing shorts. But yeah, the overall experience was like quite awesome. Like we have never camped before, like never stayed in a tent. So experience from scratch, building your own tent, then going and watching other bands, playing your show again, going and watching other bands, and getting to meet. That was like the plus point.
I mean, it's a town, and all you see is metal. There is nothing else other than metal. So wherever you go, you see metalheads and you listen to metal.
Definitely, the Walk-In experience, something for all metalheads. So playing there, and obviously, you're not as well known there as you are in Bombay, but did you feel any difference in the audience per se? Do you feel there's a difference in the audience in India and
I think the only difference I found, other than the only difference was that they don't mosh much. That's it. The rest is good, and like over here, we don't do this. That's all. They were as welcoming as the Bombay crowd or the Indian crowd.
But the Indian crowd is the moshing crowd.
Yeah. They are, Indian crowd is madder.
Indian crowd madder than the German crowd. Nice. So, You guys also played another international festival, I think a year or 2 years ago, that was part of the Yamaha Asian Beats. Which
2010.
2010, and I think that was your first out of
Yes.
India. What was that like?
Oh, that was a party. I mean, we were the only metal band of all
And the rest
other
all of pop
competitors.
and rock band or like fusion, whatever, like, you know.
More of folk pop and
Yeah.
stuff like that. And they were not aware about metal as a style of music, like the audience or the organizer. So when we played them, they were pretty much
The
shocked.
kids got scared in the front row when he started yelling. The kids got scared.
Yeah.
Well, I do remember seeing a video, and I thought those were just chicks going crazy over you guys. I didn't know there were people
They
screaming.
were screaming, they were scared.
So you should check that video out on YouTube. Zygnema at the Yamaha Asian Beats.
Global
Yes. Yeah. You know, you guys, a lot of people don't know, have been around since about 2005. And from what I know, there have been no real lineup changes in the band as well.
Well, there had been.
Yeah, but then we didn't play like shows that back then. Like we both have been sticking around for quite some time. But then yes, 2006 was the lineup, like with Mayank, Ravi, Jimmy, and myself. Initially there was Sachin on drums, who played a couple of shows for us, and Varun used to play the bass. But then they had their own responsibilities to take care of, as they realized like, you know, metal is not going to give them money. And we were students and they were working back then. So they decided to like, you know, give their jobs first priority. So that's when we were like doing nothing for almost 6 to 8 months. Just sitting and waiting for a bass player or drummer to come back. Then we came across Mayank, and then Ravi was our good old friend anyway, so we decided to fill in the spot. And from then, like, you know, we've been on it. We've not let go of a single opportunity, be it a competition or a show.
Awesome. And of course, the question that we always need to ask is, why Zygnema? What does the name mean, and where did it come from?
Well, it's a freshwater algae which gives rise to various life forms. And we try and connect our music to that kind of versatility, I guess. Keeping a common groove, but changing and experimenting a little bit in each and every song, not keeping it the same.
Alright.
That's
So
how
he's a botanist.
life science.
See, there's the connection we were looking for. The botany student and the man's come up with the name. Awesome. Okay, so a lot of your songs lyrically are very politically and socially motivated lyrics, I believe, from what I've read on your bio.
Yes.
So,
Most of us, no?
yeah, so Jimmy, if you could sort of elaborate on what inspires you and what brings out these lyrical ideas in you.
I write with my life experiences there. So I don't think, okay, now it's time for me to write on this particular issue. Whatever is in the news or whatever I'm going through, and I put my words according to my experience.
So, one of your songs, Theory of Lies and Negation, is very, the title itself sounds very government oriented, like some kind of conspiracy theory, but in actuality that song, could you tell us a little bit about what that song is about?
That's a tricky question.
Theory of Lies and Negation is definitely not a social song, political song. It's a post-breakup song. And in that song, we talk about how, like, if
A guy has to go through shit.
yeah, like, basically it's to motivate the whoever's listening to it or reading the lyrics that, okay, this is not the end of the line.
We've also received a message.
Yeah, like,
About a guy who just broke up with his girlfriend, like, yeah, this song keeps me motivated, man.
yeah, so it is actually helping guys.
Yeah, I mean, kids can connect to it, I guess.
Like, just in a angry way, I've written it. That's
Like, none of us have decided, okay, like, you know, agla topic here. Like, he just comes in with the lyrics and like, ah, it sounds good. Like, just play it.
Okay, so that kind of takes care of how you guys write music. You put the music down and then fit the lyrics to it. So you guys released your album Born of Unity in 2010. You know, what was that experience like writing and recording for that album? It came almost, I think, 5 years after your formation as a band.
Yeah, 1 year we weren't doing much. Then when I got back, like, rewriting all the songs and making it sound better. So I would not include 2006 as our process of writing songs for the album. But then yeah, when we got back, we had a couple of originals. Then we started putting down all the songs together, and then we thought, okay, like this makes an album. Let's start recording. I don't think we actually planned it out. Like we'll have an album out by this. Like it just happened. And when we knew the time was right, like just to compile everything and put it out there, that is when we started working towards it.
The question everybody's been waiting to ask you, Jimmy. Why did you cut your hair?
2 days before the pandemic.
I don't know. I just cut it. I just chopped them off, and yeah, I was losing little hair, so. But that's not the reason why, but I just did it. I think that's my
Theory of lies.
Theory of lies and it's about the haircut. So, what can we expect next from Zygnema? What's on the cards?
We have a DVD.
Yes, that's in store. We've been waiting for that for quite some time. Probably once we are satisfied with the final product, we'll put it out. Then, like we have been composing and writing new songs, and we're recording that side by side. Taking our own sweet time, we want to do justice to our second album and not rush into things. So let's see. We don't know when our second album is going to be out, but probably end of 2013. Probably.
And how much of the writing is actually complete?
4 songs?
Yeah.
4 songs are done.
We've done 4 songs. Then we have a lot of riffs here and there.
Yeah. 5th song is almost shaping up. So.
Okay. And could you give us some idea of how the sound has evolved from Born of Unity? From whatever you have been able to put down so far? Like what can Zygnema fans expect sound-wise?
Oh, I think the sound has changed a bit, but not drastically. What they can expect is it's angrier, definitely angrier.
A lot more skull crushing grooves.
Yeah, and groovier than the early album.
Alright, so we'll have to wait and see what you were able to dish out in the next album. Very excited to see what you guys are coming up with. Moving a little bit away from the music, what do you guys do otherwise? I mean, do you have day jobs?
Full-time job, yes. I work for Bajao.com. They have started their own music school. I head the music school and I also have Bajao with quite other things. And Mayank is my colleague out there. He's a drum instructor as well as he helps with Bajao inquiries and other jazz.
I work for FX United, a supplier for events, light, sound, trussing, staging, audiovisual, and the marketing and sales guy.
Okay. And how do you find? I mean, how do you balance the band with your jobs? Even though you have jobs with music, is it tough balancing life?
We are used to it.
It is. It's not easy.
We are used to it.
We're used to it.
And now that we've been chilling a little bit, we are just getting too restless without band practice. So we know even if it's a late night 10 to 12 jam, we need that band rehearsal, and then probably that routine is complete. Without band rehearsals late in the night, the routine is not complete.
And that's what keeps us sane.
Yes.
Okay, so deviating a little bit from music and life in general, let's talk about food. What do you guys like to eat?
We eat everything under the sun. Cook anything and give it to us.
What's your favorite dish?
Right from roadside chaat to South Indian or Punjabi, so.
If you had to pick one dish, what would you pick to eat?
That's a difficult question.
That's quite a different question.
I would go with pani puri.
Oh, chaat is always, probably cheese pav bhaji or pani puri.
Okay.
Or chicken tandoori. Or
So on that note, are you guys ready to taste Spaghetti 59?
let's do it.
Awesome. So let's go get that Spaghetti 59. Alright guys, so here we have it. Spaghetti 59. Dig in and tell me what you think.
It's awesome.
Yeah, it looks. Oh.
Yes, and I made chicken because I know you don't eat red meat. Sorry, Jimmy.
It's okay, you can adjust once.
Chicken is also good. This is so awesome.
So there you have it. Sidharth and Jimmy from Zygnema have given Spaghetti 59 the thumbs up. And you know what? They do give a fuck. So we'll see you on the next episode of Headbanger's Kitchen.